Hello everybody and welcome to part 2 of my hand series, Simplified Anatomy. I'm going to show you the best art hack you can use to draw really cool hands. Okay, before we get started on drawing simplified hands, I want to remind you, hit that subscribe button. Alright, let's get started. Okay, now the first thing we need to look at are the bones of the hand. Now, the base of the hand is made up of things called carpal bones. And then, of course, coming out from the carpal bones are the metacarpals. And you know I never met a carpal I didn't like. I'm kidding. Okay, so that's attached to the carpal. And those together make up the wedge shape of the hand. So the carpals and metacarpals form the palm. They do have limited movement. They don't move too far out. Now, we're gonna need to remember that for when we're doing our art hack. Now the next one are the phalanges. That's the fingers. An individual fingers is called a phalanx, and there are 3 parts to the phalanx. There is the proximal, which is the closest one to the palm. There is the medial, which is, of course, as you would guess, medial, medium, it's in the middle. And, of course, terminal, which means towards the end. Now, the fingers have limited movement, and, of course, the thumb has the greatest movement, and the phalanx is different for the thumb. Okay, so now we're going to do some drawing. And don't pay any attention to that dot. That's just so my camera can focus. But anyway, alright, so as first thing I'm going to draw the wedge shape. Right? We're going to draw the wedge. So we'll put that wedge shape right there. And that is our carpals and metacarpals. Now here's the art hack. I'm going to draw a little, well first of all I'm going to separate that so we got the space right here. Okay, I'm going to draw a little line right here, here, and here, and I'm going to use that as my guide. These are my phalanges, but I'm just going to use a straight line, right? And then this other finger is like this. This finger is coming up and over, and this finger is coming straight down like this. So I have a little bit of foreshortening going on here. I'm like, ooh, we got some foreshortening. But that's okay. So now I'm going to fill this in with my tips of my fingers. This is going to be a little bit foreshortened right here because we all know that the middle finger is a little bit bigger. And then this finger is completely blocking it. And then this one, I have my straight line coming over here, so I'm gonna put that finger. Now this is a confusing and hand position, but you will notice that I was able to draw it using those simple steps. I'm like, okay, that's a complex hand. I mean, that's pretty complex. Now, as for the thumb, the phalanx comes out. So we're going to draw the wedge shape right here, another wedge shape. And the thumb, this is the first, this is our proximal. It's connected to the palm a little bit more, and you'll only see the terminal and, I'm sorry, the medial and the terminal. So there we go. So I'm just going to put that thumb around like that. And you will notice that I have drawn a very complex, now of course you can put, you know, more stuff in there and make it look like that. But anyway, so that is basically how we do that. Now, in order for readability, I'm going to go back in here and erase some of this stuff because we want readability. We want people to to know, hey, this is a finger. Now that was pretty complex. That was a pretty complex hand, but I was able to do it using just the straight lines to represent my proximal, medial, and terminal parts of my phalanges. So that's pretty easy. Okay, so let's do one more. Here I'm gonna draw the wedge shape. Right, so we got our wedge shape. I'm going to draw this part over here for my thumb, which actually is, you can see right here, this is the terminal, and then we have the proximal, and, oh, did I say terminal? I meant to say, oh my goodness gracious, I meant to say proximal, medial, terminal. Sorry about that, you know I'm new at this YouTube stuff. So there we got that hand coming out like that. Now, this first, we're going to divide this up like we did in the other video. So we got our fingers. Okay, this one comes out this way. This one is a little bit foreshortened. This one goes this way, and this finger is over here. So those are my guidelines. So I'm using the bones of the hand as my guideline. So now I'm going to fill this in. Right, and we're gonna put this finger like this, and there we go. So we have a pretty convincing finger. It's a little skinny, but that's all right. Then we got a space in between, and we got this this finger. And then I'm gonna make this go over like this, and you can barely see the tip of this finger, because it is foreshortened. It's way far out there. Okay, and then we got this next one. And since the hand is facing that way, I'm going to make these convex instead of concave. Now this one, and then of course my little pinky is sticking out, and it's just like, okay, there is a pinky. Draw the fleshy part of the palm and put the wrist on here. Okay, now I'm going to go back into it and erase this. Now here is the really cool part. Ooh, wait a minute, let's change this thumb finger. That. Okay, now remember how we had the metacarpals. That's what you're gonna see right. So we're gonna put our knuckle right here. Right, we're gonna put our knuckles. So we got our knuckles on our hand, and then those metacarpals, you're gonna see. Boom! You can go like that, and make it look, like a really intense hand. Okay, do's and don'ts of fingernails. Don't just put the tip on there. What you want to do is have a little bit of the skin showing on this side and this side. And then of course this fingernail is foreshortened. This one you can barely even see. And then you can see the fingernail on the thumb, which actually is kind of a big thumb, but it's okay. Alright, so there we go. I made this a little bit too big. Now, of course, you can go back in there and tweak it and fix it and do all kinds of things, but that's basically how you do it. So you use the bones of the hand as your guide for making the different parts and foreshortening the hand. And there you go.